Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, and I wanted to just talk a little bit about what's going on in the audit and a little update on things going around the country. But let me share my screen with you and I will share what is going on in the audit. And right now you can see the Maricopa County audit. I thought I'd explain a little bit about what's going on. So right here, you can see in the yellow that there is like a lazy Susan type thing. And what happens is you have one person who puts the ballot on that lazy Susan, and then you have three people mark their ballot as it comes by them. And then you have the last person, as you can see, takes the ballot off. And they have three people. So if two out of the three people agree on the ballot, then the ballot continues. If there's a discrepancy, if no one agrees on the ballot, then they have to have further investigation of that ballot. But essentially, you have someone on that puts the ballot on the lazy Susan, then you have three people checking to see what was the vote, and they mark it down on a piece of paper what they saw. And so this is like super secure. Now, these are just the public cameras that are available at azaudit.org, but each table has their own cameras that are like only available for the people who are running security inside the ballot. And Liz Harris did a great interview. If you want to catch her interview with one of the reporters from the Gateway Pundit, who's been watching this up close and personal, as close as he possibly could. So the people in the orange are observers. And I just want to also make it clear, not everybody in here is getting paid. So the people who have the different color shirts, so you see blue and green and yellow, those are all assigned. This is based on Jovan Pulitzer. He's really good at catching patterns, and he has a lot of patents out there. That's why a lot of Arizonans wanted him. And, I kind of had the heads up early on that we were going to get him. That's why I was trying to tell people, like, chill, like, you don't have to bombard the Senate. Like they picked, a lot of his machines to use. I mean, he's not physically here, but they're using his technology in this audit. And then they're using some of his suggestions on how to structure this audit. So Jovan Pulitzer's hand is definitely in the mix of this. That's why he probably gave his approval too, if you saw in any of his videos. So the people in the different colors are looking at the ballots. FYI, Cyber Ninja took everything they needed off the machines. The machines have been returned to the county. So now they are doing what they need to do with the data that they extracted from the machine. So they're in the process of going through all the data that they extracted, but they're done physically extracting the data that they needed, and now they're doing their analysis of the machine. So we got that done, and former Secretary Ken Bennett, I saw that in an interview that he did, confirmed what I had heard. So that's good. I don't like to just give you guys information without really it being heard, but that's basically what's going on here. So the people in the orange are observers, and unfortunately Secretary of State Katie Hobbs has two outsiders that are definitely not friends of this audit going on. But I'm glad we're finally doing it. Let's talk about somewhere else for a second, shall we? Let's talk about New Hampshire for a second. Some big stuff that came out of New Hampshire last night. The people of New Hampshire were not happy with what happened in their version of, I'm guessing, the County Board of Supervisors. I'm not really sure what they call it, but they went against the will of the people. So you know what I hear? I hear a recall. If you are listening from New Hampshire, start a freaking recall. They went against the will of the people. It's the consent of the governed. It's the indentured servant. Get your affidavits going. Start doing your recalls, people. Get those people out of office. If they're not going to listen to the people who they supposed to serve, it's not them making the decisions. They have to do the will of the people. Get them out of office. They don't belong there. But let's look at this video. Let's look at this video that someone.
Hey, Roger, whenever you're ready. Okay, so the third thing, which I think is the most important thing, is, and he highlighted this, but I already knew this, is that the Wyndham situation is much, much different than Maricopa County. Wyndham has.
Did you hear that? They're trying to say that this audit is different than the Maricopa County audit. Can I just pop over here really quick to frankspeech.com so you can check this out?
What you showed me before, I want everybody to see in this hour. I want to say how we met. It was like a divine appointment here. I actually met a gal that was running for Congress in Pennsylvania. I met her in D.C., a random in January, and she said that she had won, and then all of a sudden we woke up on November 4th and had lost. And she knew that there was something terribly wrong. She basically went door to door. She did her own investigation, and she proved, herself. She goes, yes, it was cheated, but she didn't really know how. And so she went out and got a hold of different people to help her with this. And one of them was Dr. Frank. And when I was doing this documentary, she said, well, you need to see what he has. It was amazing. And well, so let's get into it. What's your background? Tell everybody.
I'm a PhD scientist. I've been doing science for about 40 years aggressively. Got about 60 scientific publications.
Right.
Some of them are cover articles and invited articles because I happened to make a pretty good discovery once back in the early 90s. I left academics in 1996, and ever since then I've been teaching at a special school for extraordinarily gifted kids, as well as working on new inventions and analyzing election data lately.
Right. So very overqualified, everybody, but it does. Yes. But what you're going to see just speaks for itself. I mean, for him to even dig in and get this and figure out the algorithms, and then to have absolute proof. What we have over here, what you're going to see when this is done, when I showed you an absolute proof, the first, during, and after. In other words, you have to plan the attacks.
Yep.
You have to plan the algorithms.
Yep.
Input them.
Yep.
Then it has to be online during.
Yep, it does.
And then afterwards to check your work.
Well, and clean up the
mess. Clean up the mistakes.
Because computers are stupid. They can't do anything themselves. You have to tell them everything. And what you tell them is a set of instructions.
Right.
That's called an algorithm. It's just like a recipe.
Right.
A recipe is a set of instructions.
Right.
And so don't be afraid of that word.
Right.
The first thing you need to understand about the way elections are managed is they have what they call a registration database. This is for every precinct, every county in the country. They have one of these. And in each one,
Can anybody get this?
In most states, you can download these for free.
Okay.
But in some states, they're expensive. You have to download them. But politicians use these all the time because they tell them every person in the district.
Right.
And it also tells their voting history. Is this a Republican? Is this a Democrat? Do they usually vote? Do they not vote?
Right.
Because why would you want to go knock on, if you're a Republican, why would you go knock on a Republican's door who you know is already going to vote for you anyway?
Right.
You're looking for the people that don't usually come out. You want to go knock on those doors.
So why is this significant here?
Well, this is significant because this shows you, I mean, if you have access to this, which basically everybody does, you notice that this person here votes a lot and they're a Republican. But this person hardly ever votes and only every once in a while.
This one down here hardly never voted.
Yes.
He only voted once here. What's that?
This is the November 3rd election here, this last column.
So the only time in his life he voted was right there.
Exactly. And there are a lot of those. Too many of those this time around.
Right.
But I don't think that's an accident. I don't even think they're real.
Right.
And so when we were originally starting this work, we actually went out and knocked on doors after absolutely. In every precinct, you can show too. Like, for example, in this precinct, this is by age. And this is, I'm sorry, this is by age and how many people in this particular precinct. This just happens to be one from Ohio. You notice that this is the number of people that are registered by age, this
Right.
blue curve, and then this is the number of ballots you have by age. So if you needed some more ballots,
Right.
if you needed to, because you wanted to swing one of the down
Right.
ballot elections, like there's some judge you want to win, you just have to go along and find out, well, gee, I've got a few more voters here. Let's go look and see who never votes, and let's print a ballot for them
Right,
and turn
right,
it in.
right.
It's a really simple thing. So
Right.
that's an algorithm.
Right.
Find the people that never vote, print ballots, turn
Right,
the ballots.
right, right.
They don't even know. So the only way to know an election, whether it's valid or not, is to actually confirm every mail-in ballot. You have to go say, did Mr. John Smith, does he
Right,
really live
right.
here? Did he really?
Right.
That's what the algorithm
Okay. From November 1st to the 5th. And we have
This is
all
really
the
good right
IP
here.
addresses, the IDs of the computers. We have all this of the attacks. When I heard what you're going to see here,
Yes.
it just, it's
Yes.
just so amazing.
I was on the edge of my seat watching that.
Right.
That's the.
And you had no idea. Your work was done, and you're going, wow, now you knew who did it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can see. But the thing about it is, you're showing the incursions into the machines.
Right.
But what do they do when they're there? They have to know what to do.
Right.
That's what the algorithm
Okay.
is
Well,
telling
let's
them
see.
what to do.
Let's see what you got.
Everything here, anybody can do.
Anybody
you
can
can
do.
download
Right,
it and
right.
confirm.
Okay,
So
okay.
that's part of. So
Right.
anyway, so here's the population. This is downloaded from the census. You can see the millennials and the baby boomers and the
Right.
people
What
pass away.
this is, it's just a graph of Hamilton County.
Yep.
And the age group of each one on
Yep.
the graph. So there's 10,000 or 11,000 people around 60 years of age.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
This curve, this black curve, is from that voter database that I showed you a minute ago. This is how many people of each age are registered.
Okay. Now, that's impossible, correct?
Yes, and the look on your
Everybody's registered. And then there's a little line here where there's more people registered than there are population.
How interesting.
Yeah.
And a little bit over here, too.
Right.
But still, when I've shown this to political experts,
Right.
they're all saying, Doc, no, it can't be that much. There's supposed to be about 80%. No, this is like 95%.
95,
So-
right.
So that's
Okay.
the first.
That
that's
raised
the,
a flag with you.
That's the first red flag. Okay,
Right.
that doesn't make sense. The red curve here, from
Right.
the same voter database, these are the people who turned in ballots.
Right.
Okay, and notice I didn't call them real voters because I don't think a lot of them are.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Don't think they aren't. You know they aren't.
I
now.
know they aren't. Now I.
Because-
but if I'm a scientist going into it, I didn't know, but now I know.
Right, right. Let's make that clear. There's no
Yes.
room. This is 100%.
Yes.
We know machines did this.
Exactly.
Okay. So what you have here,
Yes.
and you showed me before, this, notice that the ballots turned in match the exact curves. The odds of that are impossible.
Oh yes.
And then look at I want everyone to look at this because this is going to come up. That little jump and that little flip.
Yeah.
You know, it's the exact same pattern. All of a sudden, everyone, exact percentage
Yes.
gets turned in and votes. I mean, of every age group.
It's
Now-
ridiculous.
Right. Now with this, was that another flag?
Yes. If I just take the black curve and multiply it by 86%,
Right.
that helps you to see that those little bumps and wiggles are just absolutely reproduced.
Right.
It's just the odds of that happening in one county are ridiculously small.
Right.
But guess what? They happen in every county.
Every county.
And it's the, and
Did you do every county in Ohio?
all 88.
All 88 counties.
Yeah.
And they were all the same pattern.
And I'll show you that pattern because it's even better than this. I call it the key. So if you think of it, you can think of that 86% number as the key that converts the registrations into the ballots.
Right.
And so that's flag number two.
Right,
Flag
right.
number two, that those are similar. Now, the thing is we don't have to just use one number. We could use a different proportion for every age.
Right. Right.
Okay?
Did
And
they do that?
in other words, if you use a different proportion for every age,
Right.
then you just have a little more sophisticated key. When I show you that key, you're going to be surprised.
Okay.
Because that's also some breadcrumbs as to the algorithm. If I use those proportions, then this is the ballots on top of the registrations.
But you set those proportions yourself
Yes.
just to see if there was duplicated across the state.
Yes, and that's why it doesn't quite agree here. Because actually, I'm using one set of proportions for the entire state.
Right.
I'm never changing
You're
them.
not changing it.
No, and it's, think of it, it's 18 to 100, so that's 82 proportions. You put it in one time,
So
never
what you're
change
saying
it again.
is, what you're saying across the state, Every single 70-year-old across the state was exactly this percentage.
Yes.
Exactly.
Every single county.
Every single age group was exactly like X percent of each age group voted.
Which, of course, is preposterous.
It's preposterous.
It's preposterous.
Right. Okay.
That's why when he just said, this is not the same as Maricopa, he is incorrect. Because if you go on further, what they did is they used the 2010 census to create the algorithm. And later on, if you watch this, which I encourage you on frankspeech.com to watch it, it's called Scientific Proof. I encourage you to watch it. It's going to show that they use the 2010 census across the entire United States to flip the votes. So these people should be really angry. Excuse me, because what happened in Maricopa County also happened in New Hampshire, also happened in California, also happened in Ohio, also happened in name your state.
I was there, I think Keith was there, Jen was there. We were at the polls. We know exactly where those ballots came from. Thank you. We had people that come in and if you're from Wyndham, you walk in and you check yourself into the voters checklist. When at the end of the night, we had 10,009 votes on the voters checklist and we had 10,006 ballots.
Did you hear that? Let's rewind that.
Okay, thank you. And he sent me a link to the maricopa.gov website, which I assume is the legitimate government website for Maricopa County. And it highlighted the elections equipment audit. And this audit was performed, as Ken mentioned earlier, by two very reputable firms that have done machine audits in the past. They also did not find any issues.
Okay, I guess I went too far, but he's talking about the fake audits that Maricopa tried to cover up, which wasn't true. Let's see, where was that?
Which I think is the most important thing is, and he highlighted this, but I already knew this, is that the Wyndham situation is much, much different than Maricopa County. Wyndham has votes that, and I was there, I think Keith was there, Jen was there. We were at the polls. We know exactly where those ballots came from. Thank you. We had people that come in and if you're from Wyndham, you walk in and you check yourself into the voters checklist. When at the end of the night, we had 10,009 votes on the voters checklist and we had 10,006 ballots. That is phenomenal to only have 3 ballots differential between what was checked into the voters checklist. So we knew where those ballots came from, and that isn't the issue we had. We didn't have a lot of mail-in ballots that we had to worry about. The other thing that I think is very important to this whole process that people have to realize, we're all in this. Trust us. We're all in this.
That's funny. That's funny. Trust us. So that board that said trust us, yeah, right. Don't trust your government. You cannot trust your government. They want to take us apart. They've installed a communist government. They want to break us apart. We're blacks against whites. Don't trust your government. Watch that. Watch the frankspeech.com. Watch that and listen to that scientific proof. And you're going to see that what happened in Maricopa happened across the board. And please help Maricopa. Take the heat off Maricopa, please. Start your own audits because we need to minimize our enemy here. So if we have a lot of people doing these audits, then they can't just target Maricopa. So it's going to spread them out thin. We need to do that. That is their strategy all along, is to spread out their enemy, divide and conquer. So let's divide and conquer our enemy. Get your audits going in your state. Get them going, please, and start your recalls. Please do that. Get the heat off of Maricopa. We need your help. We need your help. Anyways, that's all I have for the update today. We're not going to find any findings until the audit's completely over. It's not going to happen. Once the audit's completely over, which I imagine we're only weeks away, that's when all the results will come out. So we're not going to hear anything until then, but keep you updated as best I can.